Hello folks, welcome to my YouTube channel, Watercolor Impressions. As the winter season draws to a close in Toronto, I want to create a painting that captures the essence of the season, while also celebrating the arrival of the spring. Before you go, hit the subscribe button so you guys can get weekly video updates from our channel. And let's get started, guys. When it comes to drawing, I'll keep it really simple. I'll provide the drawing template. Check my video description to download it. So this is my simple drawing, and now let's put down our first wash. So everything we do, we start with the sky in watercolors. That's how it works. So I'm warming up the sky with a little bit of yellow ochre, but at the bottom I'm using a little bit of coolness. So you could use Cobalt Blue, Cerulean Blue, or Turquoise. Either one of it works. And when you do the first wash, think of a wash that you're just killing the whiteness of the paper. You're not doing anything drastic in it. And if you want to put the colors of whatever the buildings are, and you can put it as well. But to make sure you don't have to put the colors, especially in the background, because the background doesn't gonna serve that much purpose in any kind of painting we do. So I throw colors, whatever I see in my reference, and just to get the essence of it. We don't have to be really accurate with our colors. This is just kind of like underpainting with oil painting or gouache or acrylic or any kind of painting we do as well. And I also picked this subject because I always do perspective which are really easy. Sometimes as an artist you have to challenge yourself and do something really complex. But as a beginner, if you're trying it, so when you do this kind of painting, you just need to be really confident when you do it. And make sure that you don't have any expectation on your painting. Either the painting worked or it didn't. So you can see I started with the background. The background is a really simple shape. I used a little bit of white paint and a little bit of blue in it, and I just blocked it really fast. And the midground buildings have a little bit of a darker value because I want this to have layers of values from background to the midground to the foreground. And I'm also painting this on wet because since it's a wintry scene, I want to create this lot of loose edges in the background, the midground, and it also creates a sense of perspective as well as sense of depth in our painting as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glaze over with Cerulean Blue, and I'm just going to bring it all the way to the midground. So what this does is it creates this foggy effect and pushes the background and the midground even further, and brings our value a little bit down. One of the painful things to do, and one of the things I still struggle in painting in watercolors, is trees. So when painting trees, because there's a lot of things happening and I don't like to dab, I want to, whenever I paint, something that kept in my mind this year is to paint confidently. So when you put a stroke, it have to be as confident as possible. So here's another tip that will make painting trees really easy, is thinking as a shape. Think as a shape and think as one single shape and break it down even further. And the other tip is to squint your eyes, and that will make the trees to look as a shape than anything else. Now I'm focusing on the foreground building. In the foreground building, I want to make sure my value is a little bit darker, so it creates this depth from foreground to the midground to the background. So these are the details in the midground I'm adding. So these are the details just to have to show the essence. It's a park. So I'm adding some rails and everything else. So you can see I'm glazing over on the foreground building again, and before it dries out I want to make sure that I'm connecting with other shapes as well. And I do a lot of wet on wet because it gives that beautiful transition in watercolors. And you can see I also add a little bit of details, which the dirt coming from the top. When it comes to the windows and everything, I also do it like really impressionistic as possible. And you can see in matter of seconds we block that foreground building really fast. But the focal point in our painting is the streetcar, which I'm blocking in, and not the streetcar, sorry, it's a bus. So all the buses in streetcar have this red and white transitioning. So that's an epic, iconic representation of Toronto. So I want to make sure that I capture that. So when I painted this road, I wet the paper in the background. So when I put down a wash, it gives this blurry edges in the background. It also lowers the value as well. and I want to make sure capturing the road as dark as possible. So whenever I capture the road, and I usually make my value a little bit lighter. So I want to make sure that capture the essence of it. And there's going to be a lot of traffic lights, and there's going to be a lot of traffic street lines. So that will help to create a little bit of details in our painting as well. So there's also a foreground road, which the pedestrian road, which is on the right hand side, I also blocked in as well. You can see I'm also adding a couple of cars, and which also helps to put down some lights. So this is the second wash. Usually in the second washes, you usually pick your values what in the reference. So either it might work, or you can also glaze over at the top once it dries out to get the value right. But I don't like to fix things in my painting. I like to paint really fast as well as confident. And this traffic lights helps to have a little bit of contrast in our painting as well. So it also complements our red, and as well as at the top of our scene. You can see I'm also adding a couple of details on the foreground houses because it's not coming in the front. As soon as we added the darker value at the roof as well as in the windows, it came in the foreground a little bit better. So at this point, I thought I lost this painting. I don't want to continue this painting, and it is surprising. Once I put the street poles and everything, the painting came alive. And that's just all about the painting, because whenever you paint, that you're losing it unless you start introducing all the secondary details. The whole painting come alive, and the essence of the painting comes from your reference. So make sure when you paint, don't give up really easily. Keep pushing till the end and see if it works. And most of the time it worked for me. It never failed me, and maybe 10% of the time I failed, but like most of the time it works really well. You can see as soon as we added the street poles and the street lights, you can also see there's a sense of perspective happen in our painting. So this is the mistake I did. Whenever I do a painting, I think about what are the mistakes I did, and next time when I do, I try to correct it. When I painted that street, I would have left this the street crossing, because it wouldn't look really good if I would have left it white. But I glazed over again with white paint, Chinese white. And you can see this is the trick I use to, sometimes I don't abuse it that much. You could use a leftover credit card or any kind of card you're using, and you can put a paint in it, and you can use perspective lines to create a sense of perspective in your scene. See, as soon as we put these two directional lines, two white lines, it directs the painting to that Toronto street bus. And you can see I'm using a smaller calligraphic brush, so which helps to create this a little bit of highlights in my scene as well. And I'm also adding the tertiary details now, and these tertiary details are nothing but like the street lights and everything, which brings back a sense of light. And you can see there's also in Toronto they have the street lines, which is dark yellow, and you can see, and that's it, guys. Now it's your turn. Take my drawing template and reference, and let's see what you can come up with. And I always tape my painting because it gives this crisp hard edges in my painting to show what my painting looks like. Thanks again for watching this wintry Toronto cityscape painting with me. Let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section. If you want me to cover any of the subjects in watercolors, write me at watercolorimpressions@gmail.com or comment below. Before you go, hit the subscribe button so you guys can get weekly video updates from our channel. And please do share with your friends and family. And good luck with your painting, folks.